Over the last 4 years, I have covered so many different types of dashboards, everything from stock Lovelace dashboards to crazy custom animated 3D dashboards and everything in between. But over the last year or so, Home Assistant dashboards have changed so much and improved in a big way that I thought it's finally time that we do an updated guide on how to build a great looking dashboard in Home Assistant using only stock cards, because spoiler alert, that is now finally possible. So this is the dashboard that we're going to be working on today, and some of you who have watched the previous dashboard guides may recognize this dashboard. Looks really familiar. However, unlike those videos, this dashboard was built using all native Home Assistant cards. You don't have to install anything extra in order to build this dashboard. Up at the top, we have our custom greeting message, and then we have a couple of badges, and then we have some buttons for like quick navigation and accessing certain items, like we can go into lights here or security, climate, things like that. And then underneath that we have our rooms. So we have bedroom, and then inside of the bedroom is like different devices just associated with that area. We've got some nice graphs, we got sensors, lights, all of that good stuff. That's basically the dashboard that we're going to be building in here. Oh, let me show you over on mobile. This is the main page if you're on mobile, and then we can go into like bedroom and we'll see all of our different devices grouped. Two things to note before we get started. Firstly, I do recommend doing this on a desktop or a laptop. It's just so much easier being able to have everything open at once. You can use a mobile, but it is more difficult, and you'll see why the desktop is so much better in just a second. Secondly, we're going to be using quite a few templates in this video for some more advanced things, for things like the welcome messages, as well as like light counts, temperature sensors, averages, things like that. So what I've done is I don't want to turn this into a template video and have to explain all of the templates, because that's a little bit outside of the scope. So what I've done is to create a GitHub gist with basically everything you need for this video. So if ever we're using a template and you're like, where did that come from? Go to the link and you'll find all the templates listed here. So just refer back to these when we're using them. So over on here is the dashboard that we're going to be working on, and then over on the left is kind of what we're aiming for or what we're copying. So we'll keep that over there. And then obviously we just need to go and create a new dashboard. So we're going to go over to settings and then dashboards and add a new dashboard. And we're going to create a new dashboard from scratch. I'm going to give that a name of Le Dashboard. You can choose an icon if you want. So we'll just do something like this and hit create. And then we're going to open up Le Dashboard, and as you can see, it's just a completely blank page. So first thing we're going to do is go up to the pencil icon to edit the dashboard, and that's going to bring up our grid and let us add titles, badges, as well as sections, and then cards within those sections. So we may as well just get started with the title first. With the header, you can see on the dashboard that I've already built that it's got like a welcome message, so a custom greeting like good afternoon, good morning, as well as it's also got some information down below that shows when my next event is. Now, because I don't want to scare you at the very beginning of the video with a big template, what we're going to do is to just create a simple title or a header for now, and then we're going to come back later in the video and make it a little bit more custom. So we can actually just use the built-in title for this, which is already pretty good. So if you hit add title, you will see that it comes up and shows you, or has a greeting that you can change. We're just going to use the built-in title for now, so we can actually just get rid of this information message and just leave the header up at the top or the title up at the top. We can change this to a card if you like. So by changing it to a card, it shows you more of an outline. I like the text only for the header, but it's totally up to you. So just go ahead and hit save on that. And that is our title created. Next thing, we need these badges. So they show, I've got them set up to show temperature, humidity, as well as when my last Home Assistant backup was. I like to have that as just a quick glance so I can quickly react if something is not right or a backup didn't happen. But you can have these set to literally anything you want. So what I'm going to do is to hit on add badge, and then we're going to click on entity, and then we can change this value to whatever we want. So I'm going to set outside temperature. So this is going to be just a quick glance so that I can see what the temperature is outside. If I'm heading out for the day, I need to know if it's raining or if it's cold, whatever it is. From there, you can change some of the options if you want. If you want to add a name, you can add that. You can also click to display the name, but I'm actually just going to leave it without one because I think it's pretty obvious as to what it is. We're also going to change the color to red. You can change the icon, things like that if you want to. I'm going to leave them on stock because I do prefer that. And we're going to hit save. And that is our badge now added. I'm going to do the exact same with humidity. And finally, we're going to add the backup entity for the last badge. And that is going to be the last successful automatic backup. And that is our badges. Next, as you can see, we need to add our quick toggle buttons up here. So these are the buttons. And what we're going to do is to click on this button, which is going to add a section into our dashboard. These sections basically allow the dashboard to show the cards in a predictable manner, so you always know where they're going to line up, which was a big problem in dashboards of old. So let's create our first section, which is going to be these buttons. So you can give the section a name, which is going to show up at the top of the heading. So we could call this quick buttons, but I actually prefer the first row of cards or these quick toggles to actually have no name. All you need to do there is to just get rid of it and hit save. Oh, actually, before we move on, I forgot to show you one of the badges that actually is in the dashboard. So you'll see up here, we just have the 3 dashboards that show the temperature, humidity, and last backup. However, if I turn a light on, you will see that a new badge appears, which shows how many lights are on. If we add some more lights, you will see that it does count up. So that badge only appears when a light is on, and it hides when there is no lights on and nothing to display, which I like. Oh yeah, and if we toggle or click on the light count, it will actually turn all the lights off for us. A nice little toggle to just, like if you're leaving the house or something, just quickly hit that, all the lights go off. So the way I do this is to have a sensor that is called all lights count, or count all lights, whatever you want. And basically this sensor just has the number of lights that are currently on using a template. Take a quick detour and we're going to go over to settings and then devices, and we're going to click on helpers, create a new helper, and then scroll down to templates and then sensor. For the name, we're just going to call it count all lights or whatever you prefer. And then for the state, that is where our template is going to go in. So we're going to head over to the template page, and then we're going to find this one, which is the light on count. And what you can do is just to copy the template in there, and then in state, we're going to click paste. Now, I know this might look a little bit scary if you are a beginner. However, I've tried to make it quite simple for you. Up at the top, you just have 2 things that you're going to change. So you have areas and you have a domain. So the domain is set to light, which is what we want. So you can just leave that as is. But in their areas, you're going to change these to your exact areas that you have set up in Home Assistant. And let me show you where to find those. So to find those areas, you're just going to go over to settings and then areas. And then you will see each of your areas here. So we have bedroom, kitchen, living room, and office. And if we go back to our template, that is exactly what I've got under the areas. So just change these to your exact areas. Basically what this template is going to do is it's going to find all lights only within those 4 areas. Now that we've pasted our template and we've changed the areas, you can just scroll down. You will see that the end result is that it has 1 light currently on, which if we look over here is actually the case. So if I toggle the bedroom light off, watch this count as it will go down to 0. That is basically how we create the sensor that counts all lights. What we're going to do is just scroll down and we're going to hit submit, and that is now saved. And if we head back to our dashboard, hit edit, and then up in the badge section, we're going to add a badge. Again, click entity, and then we're going to find that exact entity that we just created. So count all lights. just pick an icon that makes sense for you. So we'll choose lamps. Remember, if we tap the icon, we want all lights to go off. And to do that, you're going to click on the interactions page and then the tap behavior. We're going to click on perform action, and then we're going to go to lights dot turn off. And to turn all lights off, we could like select each individual device or each individual entity, or we could just go into the area and add each of our areas in there that were part of the light count. Nice, so now that when we press the light count toggle, it's going to turn all of those lights off. We'll go over to visibility, and then we're going to add a condition. And the condition is going to be an entity numeric state. We're going to select our light count again, so count all lights. And we're going to say if it is above 0, then we want the badge to be shown. And if it's obviously below 1, then the badge is not going to show. So we'll hit save on that, and then our badge is there. If we just hit done, you'll see that the badge actually disappears. And let's try toggle one of our lights. And again, it shows right up over there. Now, if you want to rearrange or move the badges, you can just go back into edit and you can just drag these around to move them. You'll see you can drag and drop them anywhere. We'll just put that one right there. Okay, now back to our quick navigation buttons. We're going to start on the light one first. So if I click on this one, it's going to take us into like a little lights only dashboard, or a page that just shows lights in Home Assistant that we can quickly toggle on or off. So we're going to create this one first, and we're going to do that just by clicking on the button, and then we're going to click on the tile card. Now, on the entity, we can basically just pick any entity. We're not going to really be using it. Again, you might want to choose the light count that we just created. We're going to not provide any name. We're going to hide the state. Oh, actually, because there is no way to hide the name, what you can actually do is to just add a space into the box. Just click on name, add a space, and then click off of it, and that's going to get rid of the name up here. Again, I'm going to choose that lamps icon for lamps. Change the layout to vertical instead of horizontal. That just puts the icon in the middle, looks a lot nicer. And we can also choose the amber color for the lights. Oh, before we save that, we're actually going to go into layout because it is a little bit wide at the moment. We don't need it that wide, and we're just going to reduce the size down to 3. And that is looking good. Let's go ahead and do it with the other 3 now. So in my one, I've got a security dashboard that shows me all of the sensors as well as the alarm that I need for security. We've got climate, and we've also got a vacuum. But again, these can be mapped to anything you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and create those now. I just repeated the exact same process I did with the lights one, and we created security, thermostat, and vacuum. Next, we're going to move on to the room cards. So these are our navigation into our different rooms or areas in the dashboard. So basically all we need to do is just to create another section. This time we're actually going to give it a title because of one feature that I do like, which is to show this little temperature over on the right hand side that is kind of an average of all of the rooms, which I'll show you how to create there. And we're going to give it a heading of rooms, and we're going to just hit save, which has created our section. Now you will notice if I just quickly add a tile card, that if I save that, we have the header up at the top, and then we've got the section over on the left and then a section over on the right. But over on our completed dashboard, everything is more nicely aligned than that. Even if I make that full page, you will see that everything is just in one column. And to do that, you just need to set the columns on the home page, and you would do that over clicking on this pencil icon in the top left hand corner. Now we're going to scroll down and we're going to set these max number of columns. I like to set this to just 1 for the home page so that everything is aligned. Hit save on that, and that is going to nicely align our sections so that just take up one column. Oh, actually I did make a slight mistake here. So you'll see that this gap between the badges and the navigation is much larger than this one. And that's because if you click on edit, we can actually just delete this header. So we can just click on delete, and that's going to shift everything up and make it a lot nicer, I think. Next, let's get adding our rooms. And we're going to do that again with tile cards. So hit on the add card and then a tile card. And this time I am actually going to choose a suitable entity. So the way I like to do this is I like to have these buttons assigned to the main light that is in that room, so I can quickly toggle it on and off if I want to. So the light that I use most in that room, that is the entity I'm going to choose. We're going to start off with bedroom, and that's going to be the bedroom ceiling light over here. I am also going to hide the state on that one, and we're going to keep the state color as the default so that when it comes on it's yellow, and when we turn it off again it goes gray. It's just a quick visual indicator that something is on. Now, bedroom ceiling is not really the name I want for it because I want it to just be bedroom, so that it's clear that we're navigating into the bedroom. That's basically all I do for these, but for now that's it. And I'm going to just do the exact same for kitchen, living room, office, snug, and guest bedroom. It's exact same process. Just repeat, add your entity, change the name, and hit save. Okay, now we've created our rooms, our room navigation, and as you can see, if I click on any of the icons, or actually the tiles themselves, they will just control that light. So that is our homepage pretty much done. We do need to wire up the navigation and everything like that, as well as add some of the nice little final touches. But for now, the homepage is looking good, and we need to add some more pages. So up at the top, we're going to click on the plus button, which is going to add a new view or a new room, if you like. Let's actually start with the light little dashboard first. Go ahead and just give it a title of light dashboard or light view, maybe. You can give it an icon, but we're not going to see it, so I'm just going to skip that. Down under here, you're going to take on sub view, and what that does is it will actually add a back button to take you back to the home page, which is a really nice touch. We will leave the max number of columns on 4, and the rest of the options are good, so just hit save, and you'll see up here we now have light view, and it's taken us into kind of a new page that we can work with from a fresh. Up at the top, we're going to add a title, a very simple one, and we'll just call it lights, and we can add a little emoji. Then for a status message, we can just use a very simple template. We're going to say something like, you have states sensor dot count, what was it, count all lights dot state 0, you have 0 lights on. And you'll see that updates or changes as we turn on more lights. So you have, oh, I forgot the word lights, that might be handy. You have 3 lights on, and if we turn them all off, you have 0 lights on. So that is our header. You can hit save on that. And then for the sections, what I like to do is just to break them down by room. So we'll just have a bathroom, and we'll add all the bathroom lights. And that's looking good. Add a tile card, and we're just going to add all of the lights that belong to that room. So bedside left. And then because we are in a lights dashboard, we're going to make use of features, and features are these little like sliders that do different things depending on what entity it is. So we're just going to add a light brightness, and hit save, and I'm going to repeat the exact same with the rest of the lights for each room. We'll need to fix this because it's supposed to be bedroom, not bathroom, because I don't have a bathroom. And again, just going to add a new section for each room. All right, so we've created like a little light dashboard that's got all of our lights per room on it. That is looking pretty nice. You'll see that it's kind of arranged into 2 columns. If I make this a little bit bigger, it will go to 4 columns. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. We've created our lights dashboard. But you'll see that if I click on the lights button, it doesn't actually do anything except bring up our entities and more info, because we didn't actually wire the button to take us to the navigation. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So if we hit on the pencil icon and then edit the light button, and we're going to go down to interactions, and then for the tap behavior, we are going to choose navigate from the list, and then we want to find the navigation path. Now this will be the light. I named my one light view. The other way you can do it is by searching for the dashboard name, so the dashboard, and that's going to bring up all of our views for the dashboard. So we're just going to click on light view, and then the icon you can also set to navigate if you want to, or you can do something else. I'm just going to do the exact same. So no matter where I click, it's always going to take me into that view. And if we now do that, it's going to take us to the lights dashboard. And then because we created a sub view, we can click on the little back button up here, and it's going to take us back to the dashboard. We're just going to do the exact same process for the security dashboard or security page. We'll create a new view. Call this a security view. Again, number of columns, fine, that's all good. We're just going to tick on subview, hit save, and then this process is pretty much the exact same as before. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different is that we don't have a entity that tells us how many doors or windows are open, so that we can add that to our status message up at the top. So let's go ahead and add that now. Take a little detour. We are going to go to settings. Once again, we're going to create a helper. So devices, helpers, create helper. And we're going to scroll down to template. And again, this is going to be a sensor. So let's call it sensor, and then we'll call this count doors and windows open. For our state, again, let's go back to the GitHub gist, and it's going to be this one up at the top, which is all open windows and doors. So let's copy that and then paste that into the state box. And basically this template will get all of your binary sensors that have a class of door or window, and it's going to get a count of all of them that are open, so that we can quickly see, oh, we left that door open or we left that window open. You can just scroll down, and we're gonna just hit submit on that. And into our security view, which we need to access from up here, and let's add a title. I have created a little template, which is over here, and it's this one. It's markdown to display all windows and doors that are open, and we're going to paste that in. And you can see over here it says you have 2 doors or windows open. Nice. So then over in the sections view, I want to display my alarm up at the top. So I'm going to add a section, and we're going to get rid of the title on this one. Actually, we can just delete the title from here. And then under cards, the first card I want to show is my alarm panel. So we're going to choose alarm, and we'll choose the alarm control panel. Under features, I do want to show the alarm modes so that they can be quickly toggled or set right from these buttons. Super handy. You can just kind of arm, disarm, set away mode, that kind of thing, right from these navigation buttons. I'm going to set the layout to a full width card so that it takes up the entire width of the section. There's no cards on the right or the left of it, and just hit save. So you can see that expands it and makes it a little bit bigger, and it's going to consume the entire width of my row here. Under that, you can add kind of whatever you want. I like to add the door locks as like a quick visual indicator. Okay, all of the doors are locked. So I'm just going to add, again, some tile cards there. Super easy. So we're just looking for a lock. We're going to add the front door. You can add features here if you like, which are the lock commands, but I just prefer to leave them what we're going to do now is I like to display all of the doors that I have contact sensors on, and then all of the windows. So simply add a new section, and we'll just call this one doors, and give a door icon. Add some doors in that we can see the status of. Super simple. Again, a lot of this is just repetitive, you know, adding your entities. We've come a long way from when we used to do YAML and configure all that kind of thing. All right, so that is looking good. That's all of my doors, locks, alarms, and windows added to the page. Let's have a quick check of what it looks like on mobile. So that's what it looks like on mobile. We've got this big alarm panel card up at the top for showing on mobile, and it's all looking good on desktop also. Perfect. And we just need to simply wire up the navigation to this card. So we're going to edit the alarm card and interactions, and we're going to choose navigation and find our security view. Perfect. So that is now good. If we test it, it takes us into the security page, and we can go back to the dashboard. For the climate card, depending on how you have your house set up, you may want to create another view or another page like we did for lights and security, just for thermostats. In this case, I'm just going to show you how to add a single thermostat, and to do that, you would just go in under entities. You would look for your thermostat entity, which is this one, or climate sometimes it's called. So we have the climate entity, and then that is actually pretty much it. You don't need to really do anything else. Now if we click on the icon, it's going to bring up the more info dialog, and we can set the thermostat accordingly. So that is just a nice little pop-up that appears instead. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for a vacuum. That is now all of those buttons at the top now completely finished. Now let's move on and create our first room, which is going to be the bedroom. So again, we just need to go in, create a new view, and we're going to call this bedroom. And once again, hit subview. This one, we are starting off with a title, and then we have a bunch of badges. So we just need to add quick title called bedroom. We're going to set that like so. Okay, and then for these badges, what I like to do is I like to have the current temperature and humidity of that room, and then I have light count for the room. We also have number of devices or number of switches, like smart plugs, things like that are on in the room, and then number of media players. Let's add a badge and just quickly add our temperature and humidity. And then let's actually come back to these light or the other badges in just a second. Let's move on to these two graphs. I really do love having graphs in the rooms. It kind of just adds a little bit of color, as well as being useful for looking at trends. So to add these graphs, we're going to just get rid of that title up at the top, and we're going to add a tile card once again. This time I'm going to find my temperature for that room. So it's going to be bedroom temperature. Come down to the feature section, and we're going to add a feature, which is the trend graph. And that is what's going to pop up our nice little graph inside of the card here. You can edit it and you can change the hours to show. So maybe if you want to see the last, say, 3 hours, probably around like the last 6 hours is probably looks nicest. But again, just change it to whatever you like. Let's go ahead and do the exact same for humidity. That is our two graphs created here. Next, we are moving on to sensors. The way I like to organize my rooms is to have the graphs right up at the top. It's just a really quick visual indicator. So temperature and humidity. You could also add things like light level and CO2 level if you're working in maybe a smaller office. That can be really useful to have them just right at the top so you can see them. Then I like to have things like sensors. So the presence sensor, motion sensor, bedroom door open, window open, that kind of thing. Then underneath I have lights, so quick toggles of lights again if you need them. And then finally under that, devices, so things like media players, any smart plugs, robo vacuums, those kind of things that just fall under a generic devices. Let's add our sensors section, and you guessed it, it's going to be really easy from here. It's just a repeat of things that we've already done. So sensors, use the tile card, start adding your entities. So we're going to do occupancy, bedroom door. So you'll notice that I've got this kind of gap over here. And so what you can do to just like fill in that little gap is to set the layout to a full width card again, and that kind of does look a lot nicer. I've actually just noticed there's obviously like a little bit of a mismatch in the height of these two sections, and that's because I did remove the header card that we should have left in. So you can just add that back in, delete the name and delete the icon, and that's going to provide like a little bit of a spacer. So if we just move that back up to the very top and save that, you'll see that that now puts our sections in line. If some have headers and some don't, that'll just keep everything nice and clean. We've finished adding our sensors. We're just going to add the lights. Okay, and finally we have the last section, which is devices. This one's no different to the others. So again, we're just creating a section and adding devices to our tile cards. Some cards just naturally lend themselves to being a full width one. Like for example, I prefer to have media players like full width, just for super easy toggling of the buttons. But then some cards, you know, like a smart plug, for example, you can get away with just having them as a single width card. I don't know, so for some reason, I just have a personal preference to some being wider than others. We've got our bedroom completely finished, I think. Let's just have a check of it on the desktop size. Yeah, that looks good. I think I actually prefer a less number of columns in the room, so I'm going to set that down to 3 just to see how that looks, or maybe do 2 and 2. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's quite nice as well with the 2 and the 2. It's great. We can just adjust these things as we go now. It didn't always used to be that case. Yeah, I love this on mobile. It's just my favorite layout. That was looking really good. Okay, nice. So we now need to actually wire the navigation for the bedroom, which we didn't do. So we can click on our bedroom tile and find our bedroom. Again, we can do the same. Oh no, actually, so the icon behavior you want to leave as the toggle for the light, and then the tap behavior for this is going to take us into the bedroom. So let's give that a test. So if we tap on the actual card itself, it takes us into the bedroom. And then if we tap on the icon, it will turn that light on, which is really, really good. Next steps would be to just finish off these rooms. Just go ahead and work your way through, do the exact same process as what we just did for the bedroom. The final thing I want to show you is all of the, I would call them finishing touches. Let's start off with the badges in here. So if you remember, these are the light count for the bedroom specifically, devices count for the bedroom specifically, and media players for the devices specifically. This template is actually very similar to the one that we did earlier where we counted all of the lights. We just need to target the bedroom area specifically instead of as a whole. Create a helper, and for this one we are going to choose template and then sensor, same as before, and we're going to call this bedroom light count. Go back over to our GitHub, and then we are going to copy the light on count once again for this one, back to the template, and paste that in there. Now the key here is to just change the area. Remember I described them before, to only target the bedroom, so we can delete those other ones, and that is going to only target or show lights that are on in the bedroom. If we save that, before we go back, we'll just create the other ones as well. Again, create a helper, template, bedroom, switch on count, and in state. So we're just going to paste the exact same template that we just used. So paste that. Again, change the area to only show the bedroom. And then under domain, we can change this to be switch. And that is only going to show things like smart plugs or other types of switches that are allocated to the bedroom. That is going to show us those, and we'll hit submit. And the final one is the media player one. So once again, template, sensor. And then this one is a little bit different. It's this one here. It's the media player playing count. So we'll copy that one, paste that in here, and change the area to bedroom. And this one is basically looking for media players that have the state of playing, so actively playing music or playing TV, whatever it is. And that is all of the templates I think that we need for now. So we'll go ahead and submit that. Oops, playing count. And submit that. And we're going to edit and add those as badges up at the top. So we had bedroom light count, bedroom switch. The final one is the media player. Perfect. So that is all of the badges now appearing up here. So I think that is all the templates for the badges up at the top. Let's do the full welcome message here. So if you remember, that is this little custom welcome message up at the top. We can edit the header or the markdown. And then again, back over on the GitHub, I've got two welcome messages that you can use. There's one that just does the custom greeting. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you want the welcome message with a calendar event, so it will notify you when your calendar next has an event, then there is this one down here. We'll copy that, head back to Home Assistant, and then just paste the full thing into the markdown here. It'll tell you the time and then when your next event is based on your calendar. All you need to do here is to put your calendar entity into this bit as well as this bit, and then it should work out when your next event is that is upcoming. We can just save that, and that's going to appear now up at the top. The next thing I want to show you is how to get the average temperature here. We again need to do kind of a template, but a little bit different this time. So if we go to settings and then devices, helpers, and create a helper. This time, instead of selecting the template sensor, we're going to choose this one, which is the combine the state of several sensors. And we're going to call this house average temperature. This time we're going to select all of our temperature sensors. So bedroom temperature, living room temperature, and then under the characteristics, instead of minimum, we are going to choose the mean. Change the precision to just 1 because I don't really need to know more than that. And then under the section or the header of the section, click on the pencil icon, and then under the entities box, click add, and then we're going to search for house average temperature, that one, which is going to show us 20.1 degrees, and that is going to show us our average house temperature across all of our rooms. And I think that is pretty much us done. Is there anything else we missed? Oh yeah, so these little icons or these little counts are done in the exact same way. So because we used helpers to create these badges up at the top, we can also display them inside of the headings. So again, we just go into the header of lights, go down to entities, add an entity, and then we search for bedroom light count. That's going to show us up at the end. Do the exact same with devices because we also did that one. And I think that is now us pretty much done. Let's just have one final quick look at the dashboard. So that is how it is looking on desktop view. So we have all of our stuff added. We've got our lights dashboard, nice. We've got the security dashboard, climate. I think we are done here. I hope you found this useful. I'm sorry it was a little bit longer. Hopefully we covered everything in enough detail and it wasn't too repetitive. Sorry this video took so long to do. Like I said, I just kept seeing more and more things coming in the pipeline and I wanted to wait to get the full build out for you. But I'm really happy with how dashboards are now in Home Assistant and how far they've come. Some of you guys that have been around for a long time will know how much of an improvement this is, so it's looking really, really cool. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please drop a comment down below if you want to see some more dashboard stuff, or if there is any other dashboard content you want to see, as well as anything else. Drop them down in the comments. We're coming back, we're making more videos, hopefully getting a bit more frequent. It's really good to be back making videos again. There is some exciting stuff coming really soon. Thank you so much for supporting, as always. I really appreciate you guys. Please drop this video a like, get subscribed, and I will see you in the next video.